First thing that you need to understand about Palworld is that it's not a Pokemon game. That's what people are thinking the first time they saw it. It's a Pokemon with guns. But in reality, it's kinda not. Maybe it is, but it's kinda not. And in reality, it's actually a survival crafting game. And before you're gonna get mad, because I know that many of you do not like this type of games, and I'm one of them as well. This is not like your average survival crafting game. This is much more different, and the small things and small additions that this game has makes it truly unique and actually much more enjoyable than you think. And if you are already a Palworld player, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So is Palworld worth it? No matter whether you're just trying to get it or you have already played it before and want to return it, the answer is resounding yes. Palworld is absolutely worth it. This is one of the most unique and one of the most engaging games that I've ever played last year. And even though it's not perfect, it's perfect enough to keep you going and perfect enough to have a lot of fun. But without understanding what it is and what it does, it's really difficult to understand whether it's actually for you. So let me talk about Palworld and why it is worth your time and your money. First thing is what it is. Like when you start the game, when you get the game, what will you see? Well, of course, as like with any other survival crafting games, you're starting with completely naked person. Well, not completely naked, but still person with nothing. And you're thrown to this giant open world. Yes, an open world is truly giant. And it's not really a single piece of land. It's more of an archipelago with different islands, which is connected with either large areas of water or just very narrow straits or maybe even rivers. And technically, you're free to move anywhere you want from the very beginning. But just like with most other games like this one, your level is your restriction. So you need to level up in this game as well. And leveling up is not just needed to make you stronger, it's also needed to unlock your crafting recipes. And that's where survival crafting part actually starts in. As you level up, you unlock different technologies that you need to research or basically buy with a technology point. You gain technology points by actually, well, mainly playing the game and doing different tasks, and technology points are not difficult to get. And with these technologies, you unlock different crafting recipes, different crafting stations, also of course the ability to have a base. And base is what's surrounding your main game. That's your main part. That's the thing that you work towards. Then this place where you craft your gear, you gain your different resources, and of course tend your pals. And now let's talk about the most important part of this game and most distinctive part of it as well, pals. Pals are basically the creatures of this world, and technically humans in this world are also pals, but they evolved in a different path. And that means that technically you can actually capture humans as well, even though you kind of should not do that. And pals in this game are not just the creatures that you need to kill for different resources, even though that's the thing that you will probably be doing the most. They are actually, well, pals, no pun intended. You actually need to capture them, and you need to capture a lot of them because they actually serve practical function. The first practical function is that they are becoming the part of your party, and that means that you can actually summon them and they will fight beside you and protect you in your adventures in this giant open world. And you need them because, especially in the beginning, because you will be very weak and you need as much firepower as you can. You can have up to 5 party members at the same time, and each pal can serve different function. Like for example, you can actually ride some of them, even though you cannot do this from the very beginning, but you can do it eventually and quite quickly. You can use them for their different abilities. Mainly you will be using them for combat, but that's not their main function. Their main function is to tend your base, because your pals don't have just fighting abilities, they have some other abilities as well, like affinities. Each pal species have different affinities, meaning that the different things that they can actually do in your base. Like for example, some pals will be good at handiwork, meaning that when you start crafting something, they can actually take over this crafting and do crafting for you, so you don't need to crafting everything manually yourself. Some pals can do building, meaning that when you start building something, they will actually finish it for you, and more pals will be working on it, faster it will be finished. Some pals, or different amount of pals, can do a farming for you. Like for example, some pals can do planting, others can do watering, and others do harvesting for you. Other pals can do lumbering, meaning that they will actually hunt for wood, basically chop down all the trees around you. Others will do mining, others will do transporting of those resources, meaning that each and every pal will have their own task to do, and they will do those tasks for you, thus adding also an automation element to this game, and alongside survival crafting and some RPG as well. And this makes each pal very unique and very useful for your tasks, and even will create personal connection with you, which I actually quite enjoyed in this game because every pal is very unique. And the moment of recording, you have 150 pals. Now, this 150 is not all the number of pals. Actually, these are a number of species of pals, and each pal can actually have subspecies as well. Like for example, the subspecies can look different and have different elemental affinity, have different elemental type, and also have different affinities as well, meaning that the number of pals actually far more than 150. The species are 150, but subspecies are actually far far more than that. And speaking of species, capturing pals is probably the most important task that you will do in this game. As I said, the world is actually giant, and each pal have their own habitats where they inhabit this giant archipelago. And capturing them is not just great for, capturing them and getting the more powerful pals you can, and more pals because you need them in your base, but also leveling up your character as well. Because at the moment of the recording, capturing pals is one of the best ways to gain XP, at least in the beginning of the game. But that's really it. You capture pals, you build a base, you level up, what you need it for, what you will be doing with all those things. Well, of course, going exploring, finding more things to do, and of course, more bosses to defeat, because there are bunch and bosses everywhere around you. And in many cases, bosses are also pals that you can actually capture and put them in your base and give them different tasks. And this creates a feedback loop that keeps you quite entertained for really long time. And because the world is very diverse, very beautiful, pals are also very different, and they're also unique, meaning that when you capture a same species pals, or even same subspecies pals, they will also have different traits to one another. Like, for example, some can work faster, some will be a bit lazier, some may have different types of attacks, and you will be also leveling up each pal, basically grinding for their level ups as well. And you can also give them different types of attacks as well with different skill fruits, making every pal unique for you. And don't think that you will need to capture a few pals, you will literally need to capture hundreds of them, and there's actually practical use for this. Well, first and the worst, you can actually butcher a bunch of different pals. Yes, you can literally butcher them for their resources and for their meat. That's completely normal in this game. Second is slave labor. Yes, you literally heard this right. You can actually use these pals for slave labor. I know this does not look fun, but the game actually allows you to do that. Third, because you can have a bunch of different bases, each base can house dozens of different pals, and with all the different functions and affinities, you will need a lot of pals to fill out those bases. And fourth is raiding, because you can actually send those pals to different raids or expeditions. That's how they're called in the game. And for each expedition, you can send up to 100 pals. And more pals you will send, more powerful those pals will be, more power you will put in these expeditions, and mean the expeditions will finish quicker. And most expeditions will require the specific types of pals, so you will need hundreds of very specific types of pals. You can also build ranches for the pals, and those pals will be giving you very specific resources that you might need. You can also breed them if you want. And yeah, there are a lot of uses for those pals. A lot. And you will be doing a lot of different things and juggling between a lot of different things in order to, complete everything that you want in this game. But then don't get me wrong, this is actually quite fun. You're gonna have to do a lot of different things, and you're gonna easily get at least 100 hours from this game. And all of those things that I said is only touching just a single player. I didn't even talk about multiplayer, because yes, you can play this with a bunch of different friends, because technically you can create a server and play with a bunch of different friends on a single server. Do you need to be doing that? Actually not. This game is perfectly fine single player as well. You will not feel a single second of boredom if you're going to play this alone, and because servers can be actually customized as well. Like, for example, if you feel like you don't gain enough XP, and yeah, at some moments from around level 20 to 40, you might be feeling that, you can actually adjust the XP rate and gain more XP, or even adjust the resource rates and gain more resources if you want to play like that. But everything can be good or bad if the pricing is right. So how much game will actually cost you? Well, game is actually available in early access for now, and there are some issues with it, but to be fair, when I played it, I didn't encounter very many of them, only very few of them, and the game's full price is 30 bucks, and the deepest sale it has gone was only 25%. But if you want to get it for cheaper, you can actually get it on a Game Pass as well. It's available on PC Game Pass, so yeah, you can get it there as well. Is it worth it for the full price? If you ask me, yes. This was one of the most played games of all times on Steam, with peak concurrent players of over 2 million players, and it is consistently over 50 to 100,000 players at all times. So what, those people are actually stupid by playing this game? I don't think so. They're actually quite right, because this game is absolutely worth it. So should you get it? Yes, you should. Should you return it if you haven't? Yes, you should, because the game had a bunch of different updates that added different regions, biomes, different pals, and different game mechanics that you need to experience. So yeah, you need to do this 100%. And this video is sponsored by channel's partner and supporter, Instant Gaming. If you want best games for the best prices all the time, all year round, without waiting for any sales, Instant Gaming is the way to go. You can find all types of games for all the different platforms, and most importantly, for the cheapest prices possible. And I also partner with Instant Gaming for epic game giveaway of your choice. So click the link in the description down below for your chance to win. Thanks to Instant Gaming for their support, and now let's get back to the video. And if you like survival crafting games, you might enjoy No Man's Sky as well, so you can watch my review of it right here. Or maybe if you like survival with more RPG elements, you can watch my review of Enshrouded right here as well. Don't forget to subscribe right here as well. This will be for today, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care.